Hello, you lovely lot. Welcome to your final English home learning video, where today we're going to be making links between paragraphs. So we're going to be taking the connectives and the repetition that we looked at yesterday and putting that into, not yesterday, Wednesday, and then putting that into some writing. So, little fun starter for you today. We've got a conversation connective bingo. And it's exactly what it sounds like. You can see my bingo board down at the bottom here. And what I want you to do, you've got two options. Is you can either tell a partner or say out loud to yourself if you want. Mild is tell them what you did getting ready for this morning, using as many of these connectives as possible. Spicy is I want you to imagine you're in the book, Clockwork, and you're telling someone all of the latest gossip you've heard about Prince Otto. Okay, so let me model Mild for you. So I might say something like, and I'll tick them off as I go. So, firstly, when I woke up this morning, I jumped out of bed and gave myself a big stretch. As a result, my bones started to click and clack a bit where I'm getting old. Also, I realised that I needed to put my slippers on because my feet were cold. In addition, this is my free choice, one that I get to choose. In addition, I was incredibly hungry, so I made my way to the kitchen, etc. Over to you. What I'd say is pause me. Like I said, you can say it to somebody or you can just say it out loud yourself. Have a go. I'll get rid of there we go. Get rid of those so you can see them. How many can you do? When you're ready to move on, unpause me in 3, 2, and 1. Right, hopefully you managed to squeeze loads of those connectives in. Remember, connectives help us. They are words or phrases that link ideas, sentences, and paragraphs. And now repetition is when we're really trying to make a point. So we kind of say it in a couple of different ways, okay? Today, what you're going to do is you're going to take those skills and you're going to put them into a letter from Prince Otto in our book to Dr. K, begging him to repair little Prince Florian, okay? So repairing his son, okay? So let's have a little read out and we'll see. While I'm reading, I want you to be looking for connectives and maybe some repetition and any other skills you see. To the great and powerful Dr. Calmanius. Firstly, allow me to apologise for the intrusion when I am certain that you are hard at work on your latest creation. Did you spot any there? I'm hoping, yeah, you went, do you know what? Firstly, we just used that one there. That's an example of a connective, okay? So I'm going to read out now and then I'll pause and I'll get you to see if you can find the other connectives and any other skills. However, please believe me when I say that I have not taken the decision to contact you lightly. I am writing to ask, or rather beg, you to work your magic on my beloved son, whose health has deteriorated drastically in the last month. As previously mentioned, my darling Prince Florian's health has taken a turn for the worse. In other words, I fear he might not live for much longer if I don't act quickly. Right. Pause me. Have a look for those skills. Maybe identify them, just get them in your head, or if you've got a printout, write it down, and then we'll look at the we do. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so you can see in black, we've got quite a few connectives at the start of sentences and paragraphs there. I've put in pink our repetition, so kind of reinforcing that point. So we had ask, and then they said, I'm going to beg. So the same sort of idea. We had this repetition 2 or 3 times of Prince Florian becoming poorly. And you've got to think that's the main thing of his letter, which is probably why he's repeating it and why it's so important. What other skills did we have? In green, I've just put a little embedded clause there. And then we had a relative clause at the end of a sentence in orange. The other thing I noticed was that there was quite a lot of formal language there. Okay. Why do you think this is a formal letter rather than being written in kind of more informal language like an email or a text or something like that? I think there's kind of 2 reasons, isn't there? Number one, this is a letter, which is often more formal than, say, an email or a text. Number 2, think about the purpose of the writing. Prince Otto is desperately trying to convince Dr. K to repair his son. So he's kind of going as formal as he can. So why don't you have a go at writing the next 2 lines of the letter using connectives and or repetition? What I would recommend is that green sheet of the connectives that we put up on Wednesday. Use that, take another look, because that is exactly, you can get your ideas of words to use the connectives there. Okay, if you want to pause me and then we'll have a look at what I think in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so take a look at your example. Where are your connectives? Have you used repetition? I'm going to try and use both. Now, I quite like, when I'm thinking of kind of a pair of sentences, I quite like having on one hand, on the other hand, to hand, because I know I can use those to contrast things and kind of link my sentences. So I'm going to add down here, I have to get rid of this. So I'm going to say, on one hand, remember I need my comma after my connective. On one hand, I'm going to say, I had hoped that his condition might improve. Okay, so we know that Prince Otto was probably trying to ignore the fact that Florian was getting worse. So on one hand, I had hoped that Florian's condition, and again, condition's quite formal, isn't it? Rather than kind of, I guess illness is quite formal, but rather than saying he was poorly or something like that. So that Florian's condition would improve drastically over time. Then I'm going to use on the other hand, so a nice bit of another connective there, and I'm going to use this to repeat the point. What did I say is the point that keeps being repeated? He's really poorly, he needs fixing. On the other hand, I was aware that this was likely not to be the case, so he wouldn't get better. Okay, there's mine, but you haven't got to worry about mine. You guys are going to write your very own letter. Okay, as always, you can magpie a sentence, an idea from here, but we want to see what you guys are able to write. So let's just have a look at our expectations for today. So activity, persuasive letter. Remember, we did a lot of persuasion a couple of weeks ago. Persuasive letter from Prince Otto to Dr. K, asking him to help to fix his ill son. Remember, the expectation, the norm that you guys are up to now, we'd like 12 to 16 lines as a minimum, using paragraphs which are linked, okay? Make sure we haven't just got random things here, there, and everywhere. Now, the way we can do that, we can use connectives at the start of a sentence or a paragraph. We can use repetition, maybe starting new paragraphs or at the end of a paragraph to kind of go back to what you've already written. And the fun part today, to help you structure your writing, we have given you a bit like those connective bingo sheets that we had at the start. We've got a connective bingo for your writing. Now this comes in mild or spicy. You can choose the mild one, which is 2 rows, or the spicy, which is 3 rows, and some of those trickier connectives. How many of them can you get in your writing? Can you get a full house? Okay, so that's what you're going to do. And then at the end, again, as always, if you can edit with a partner, perhaps over the phone or over email or whatever, brilliant. If you can read it to somebody at home, fab. If not, can you do it solo? Can you edit those skills in upscale words, etc.? Anything you're not sure on, drop along to our drop-in session and we'll have a look there. But if not, see you Monday. Happy Friday, guys. Bye-bye.